Welcome, my name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today. We are on our second card for this week's stamp set of the week, Trusty Tools. We are going for designer series paper and a focal image on our second card. And hopefully for Funky Fold Friday, we will actually use the dies. So join me then. But in the meantime, here are the supplies we need for this card. So we are going to need a piece of cherry cobbler. This measures 8 inches by 5 3/4. We will score or fold at the 4-inch mark. We have a piece of Pretty Peacock, which measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And you will have noticed that there is a circle missing from the middle, which I have cut out to use a focal for the sentiment. So what you need to do is have yourself 2 circles, one larger than the other. The smaller piece needs to be the sentiment or the picture, and then the backing of the larger image for the paper. So whichever you have, I would suggest you use. I used a 2 1/4 inch circle for the outside and a 2-inch circle for the inside. That's what I have in my stock. I don't have the circles at the moment, so that's what I'm using. So obviously if you've got Spotlight in Nature, you could probably use that as well. Right, I also have a piece of designer series paper. Now this originally was or came with the stamp set as the designer series paper to match. Unfortunately, I have checked, it is no longer available. So I suggest use whatever designer series paper you have in your stash and would work well with your design. And this piece measures 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. I then have a piece of Pretty Peacock again. This measures 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. And I should have a piece of white paper, which I don't have. So let me grab a piece of cardstock. There, I've got here. And I'm just going to cut that down now. So we're going to cut that down to 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, and that will go onto there. Right, so that is our focal image onto here. So let's start with that. Let's move these aside for a second. So I have got Early Espresso, and I am going to stamp 2 of the tools. So I've got the wrench. Oops, that's come off at the bottom, so I'm just going to press that down. There, that's better. So I've got the wrench. So let's see what we can do. Put the wrench up here. There we go. And then I've got the hammer. Now I suppose I could just move that around. That would make it a lot more easier. That's coming off as well. So let's push that down. There we go. That will go there. And then I will come in again with the wrench. I'm only going to use 3 this time. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and now we can colour those in using the infills. So I have got Pretty Peacock, and I've got the crushed curry. So I'm going to use that piece of fluff off. That one go there. What does that one go there? That's the one that goes on that one, and that's the one that goes on that one. So I'm going to do Pretty Peacock on this one. I think I'm going to do a second off version, a stamped off version. So let's see what we think. Push that down and then push it down. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do the stamped off, so second generation. So ink it up, stamp it off, and then just add it to the end. There we go, perfect. And then we are going to do probably the full version for the wrench. Turn that round. Let's ink it up. Yeah, we're definitely going to go for the first version of this one. Okay, so that will go one there, and on there. So it's actually a very quick stamp, because you're not doing the colouring and the infills are supplied for you. It becomes very quick and easy. I think that's the best way round. So we can mount that now onto our matte layer. And I'm going to use my, she says, reaching across my multi-purpose. So it's Wednesday and my brain is working as if it's a Monday. Bizarre. Right, okay. Let's pop that down. Lovely. And now we can start building the card. I'm going to make the sentiment a happy birthday wishes or birthday wishes. And I'm going to stamp that in the early espresso as well. There we go. Let's make sure that's straight. And there we go. Birthday wishes, perfect. So that can now be glued to that. And that is all the inks out of the way. There we go. And that will go onto there. So the first thing we need to do is to glue up the designer series paper. I'm just going to go around the edges, because what I don't want to do is stick my hand in glue through the hole. That's going to go straight down like so. There we are, perfect. I'm going to fold this in half using my, oh, I was going to use my bone folder, but I've just dropped it, so we won't worry about that. Oh dear. As I said, it just feels like a Monday today, and I know it's Wednesday. So I will use a block just to burnish my edging. There we go. And then I can glue that down. Now you can go all over. That will stick onto there. My focal image goes onto there. Perfect. And then with this, I'm actually going to use use dimensionals. And I want it to go around the edge. So I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. And that should cover, yeah, look at that. So I think I'm going to do it that way. Or maybe over a bit. Probably maybe over a bit. Right, let's take the tops off. And we can stick that down to there. Right, and that is our second card for today. Very quick and easy again. Liking the design. You could use this design with lots of other different cards, but works well with the Trusty Tools. So thank you for joining me today. As I say, I'll be back on Friday for Funky Fold. So do join me then. Thanks very much. Bye.